Ben Shapiro is weighing in on this with his usual garbage opinion, and he always comes up with the worst of everything. The and the conservative opinion a lot of times is just the worst of everything. And basically, I saw this the other day, and Ben Shapiro is basically he he's responding to all these other conservatives and like right wing dissidents who are saying the same thing, like Tucker Carlson, like what Russia wants them to say, and which is, oh, there's all these drug addicts, there's all these inner city kids with no iPads, there's all these people who they're on China's fentanyl and they're on their whatever, there's crumbling infrastructure. And why are we sending weapons? Why are we going to send weapons to Ukraine when there's all this crumbling infrastructure in America, and there's homeless people, homeless drug addicts in America who don't have enough drugs, and as it is, or there's no money for social programs. Well, all the things that the Republicans have always cared about. Um, Maybe Ben Shapiro's a little, but Ben Shapiro basically says, like, hey, you know, just because someone doesn't want to give weapons to Ukraine, just because someone doesn't want to give aid to Ukraine, doesn't mean that you want to give money to Americans also. Doesn't mean that you want. He says that you don't want necessarily entitlement programs. You could be against entitlement programs and in favor of giving money to Israel. I mean, and in favor of not giving money to Ukraine, is what Ben Shapiro says. And so basically, but he otherwise considers himself something like he supports Ukraine or something. Like he thinks that he's going to. He says, "Oh, we just need to arm Ukraine. Okay, we need to stop Putin." Ben Shapiro admits that there's a national interest in stopping Putin, in degrading the Russian military. He said this the other day. He says that there's a national interest, but he doesn't want to just go on forever without, and so he wants there to be some like a cutoff and to push these guys for peace, to negotiate, but we'll give them the weapons, but we need to get them to cede territory. This is what Ben Shapiro says: cede territory to Russia. So give them. I mean, why fight if you're just going to give the land away? To so I guess just kill some Russians, get people killed, get don't take territory back, but also don't give money to America. Let's be real, because let's be real, if they stop the war, you ain't getting any of that money. They might they might just send it. So, I mean, it's so bizarre that they've made people. This war is very cheap. It's one of the cheapest wars we've ever had. We're getting the most bang for our buck, and there's all these dumb brutes on the right are crying about it like you wouldn't believe. And like there are some like mainstream Republicans who actually have a pretty good stance on this, and I mean they'll point out, they'll say, well, we actually want to do more than what Biden is doing. But at the same time, Republicans are not, you can't put that much stock into that, because Biden, okay, say what you will, but Brandon is kind of doing it. And we're to a point where there are huge problems with like they're not doing enough. But it should be the Republicans are demanding more of that. But the real Republican voice, the real voice of the right, is like the voice of peace now. And it just shows how the peace movement has always been a complete joke. Like, it's always been Russian propaganda, but now it's just it used to it used to kind of be able to trick you a little bit more into thinking why are we fighting this war? Now it's clear it's naked aggression with this dictator who's just trying to kill everybody, and that's is what they're gonna do when Russia takes over places. Like, they want permanent demographic change, and there used to be a German city called Königsberg, and this was the hometown of Immanuel Kant, and they this is in East Prussia. The But now this is Russians took this over. Is the furthest Russian city west. It's not even connected to the rest of Russia, but they killed everybody, and everybody there is Russian now. There's no Germans there now, and it's now called Kaliningrad, named after a Bolshevik communist. And they just kept the name because they don't care. All that matters is they killed everybody else there, and they moved their own people in. And the city's really a is a Freudian slip, but the city is a shadow of its former self. And it used to be a nice place, you know, and now it's garbage. You could look at pictures of it, and it's not like the place that exists in Western civilization, like in reality. It's like a foreign occupied city. And what we have now, you see with Mariupol, where that city used to have like it was a Ukrainian city. It was now now this is a city they killed the Russians killed everybody, and now they're moving in immigrants to repopulate it from Central Asia. Like so it's the new city is going to have a much more Islamic character, and so on and so forth, because they're bringing in new people. And that's what Ben Shapiro wants, and that's what conservatives want. Just Russians just kill everybody, because conservatives can't fight. Conservatives have never been able to fight a single battle. They've lost everything in our own country, and they just let it go right to oblivion. They've completely lost the culture war. When conservatives will talk to you about they'll actually tell you, like, if you support this or that military action now, because that now they're against it, and they'll tell you about this or that's woke, but it's because they let it happen. Like, I've been around for a while, and I've seen this go down. Like, I happen to know who our conservatives are, and they're completely useless. Like, we need to clean house, is what I'm saying. Like, Ben Shapiro represents, like, probably the dumber. You could find, probably you find plenty of, like, if you just talk to people and meet people, you'll find right wing people who are great people and have great opinions, and you can talk to. But then the higher this goes in influence, the dumber that they get. And then, like, when you get to the Ben Shapiro level or so, but even when you get to the influential on Twitter level, it's already hopelessly dumb and cowardly. And these are influencers who we need to clean house with, because we're never getting anywhere with these people. This is not we're better off with the liberals, and they have a more nationalistic sense of themselves, and in a way they almost behave more Christian, because conservatives have no care for anybody else, and they're fine with everyone just getting killed. And so a lot of the worst kind of Christians, the fake Christians, are just like this too, if they're not the actual murderers or cheering on, because a lot of these people might as well be probably most of the conservatives are going to say, because they're cowardly, I don't support anyone. I don't have a dog in the fight. I don't support Russia. I don't support Ukraine. I just neither. I don't get involved. Even though we're already involved, and actually everything that they say will be Russian. Russian The whole Russian narrative is like encapsulated in these people who don't take a side. They just let Russia kill everyone, but I don't care. I don't take a side. And at least some of these people like Justin Hinkle will say, you know, this person, if a Ukrainian truck hits a landmine, he goes into like orgasmic ecstasy like a whirling dervish, where he's just like it's really bizarre how much this guy cares, but at least he just admits it, and he's into, at least he's gotten into the war. Okay, take a side. You know, at least Justin Hinkle can say that much. He could take a side and go with that. Unlike cowardly Ben Shapiro, who wants to cede all the ground, who just give him the weapon, give him some weapons. There's a national interest here, but then cut it off. Then stab him in the back when it matters. Stab him in the back. You know, that's where wars go with conservatives at the charge. Because Ben Shapiro would never fight, and no conservatives will ever fight. This is the only show. Um, Wait, maybe I don't know. Tell me another show where the host has actually shot people to death, other than my show. But this is it. The conservatives will not be there. They're not going to have your back. They're not going to be at the battlefield. If you're a young nationalist, they are only going to sell you out and stab you in the back. And you can see it with what they're doing with some of our more patriotic youth who they're really trying to stab in the back all they can, and actually doxing these people and trying to ruin their lives. So the best thing you can do is to not try to get involved with any kind of like movement there is now. But not to say just don't get involved in politics, but just think of, just figure that everyone who came before you, if you're a young person, everyone who came before you know, you want to help America. You're not from the right, you're not from the left. You just want to fix America. Just don't listen to anybody who exists, because there's so much now that's just purely poisoned. And there's nowhere on the right or the left that isn't infected by the Russian infection. And I mean, you go way back when, because what are the distance in the 60s and so forth? They're just repeating what the Russians tell them to about peace and so forth. That's why they're false prophet. They'll say peace, peace when there is no peace. When you're when there's someone invading you and at war with you, they're talking about like peace and all. Why do they even want peace? You know, war is the engine of change. War is the engine of self improvement. Is That's the time where you get better. That's where you get serious about things. And we're not really a country that even deserves peace anymore. In fact, you know who really is? I mean, we brought the war on ourselves. And so it's not like we deserve to not fight in a war. And America now is like a righteous place who just should be living in peace and prosperity. Actually, like only like the foundations are good right now. And the thing is, we built this country on a rock, and that's why it's still standing. Because everybody who's running it right now, you know, that's why it still runs. It's just going. It's not so much by someone's design. Like, no, if you look at our leadership, you'd be like, yeah, you know, this is rudderless. As it's happening, like what we have is like distance on the left and the right who are so worthless that you can only really like I'm like actually defending the establishment just because it and it's no benefit to me. And like if you know anything about me, you probably figure that. I don't need to cover for these people. It's just the fact is that our distance are so low quality that I'd rather have, I want something new to come, just not from these people. I'd rather just stick with Brandon. Like it's not even like just, oh, the devil, it's just that he's actually, things are actually still standing and things are kind of moving. There is the war's still going. We just need to pick it up. And if Brandon can do it, then great. And we don't need any distance to come along and help the situation. We don't need any Republicans to come along and help the situation. Great, because we don't want to deal with them. There are a few things that they could do that they do good. Like conservatives have like the voucher program, I guess is about the only state for like the school choice. If you can get in on that, get in on that and make sure that conservatives are pushing for that and make sure that the liberals are not trying to stop it. But beyond that, I don't know. There's not a lot of good that's going to come out of these people, and especially not Ben Shapiro, who actually has a worse position than like the establishment. You're better off being just a liberal than listening to Ben Shapiro. You'll be a better person, and you better. I mean, these people, and half of them are like going on about China, like, oh, this is a distraction from our real enemy, which is China. You mean Russia's ally? um, First off, America beat Germany and Japan. I'm pretty sure we could beat Russia and China. Okay, use your head. These these two countries, it's not either or either. It's about, these are about peas in the pod. There's a reason why they're getting together. Conservatives. Oh, they're only getting together because we pushed them together. That's the other thing about conservatives now. They'll actually they'll actually tell you over and over again, like, well, how would Russia feel, or what would we do if Russia did? What would we do if Russia moved missiles into Mexico or something? Like they act like this is like a non-globalist position that all nations should be like the same. Like, and then I'll tell them, well, not every country gets to do what America can do. Like, not every country is allowed to own nuclear weapons, for instance, and they'll be aghast. Wait, what? And these are like conservatives, right wing, people, trash. What about China? And they will not. They're not going to fight China. No conservative is going to really, because what they care about is money, and that's all Trump really cares about. He'll never be able to understand someone like Putin, because Putin has all the money in the world and might be the richest person on earth. Vladimir Putin is probably the richest man on earth, but it's not all about money with Putin. Unlike our people, Vladimir Putin is an outlook where he's looking at how he could be a great man in history, like with a legacy, like with like an empire building, because if he could take over the whole Ukraine, he could make this Eurasian empire. He could rebuild the Soviet Union, and he could be like one of the greatest men in history like this. It's not just about money. You're sitting around with all the money in the world. Some people are just going to think, it won't mean that much to them. Not everybody really cares about money, as far as all wars just being about, like, Putin isn't in Ukraine for profit. I don't really believe that. Like, he's not like just trying to enrich oligarchs and stuff like that. This is a mission of self-sacrifice for Russia, and they know they have to fight to reclaim their former glory. And we don't know that. We think that we could just live in peace and prosperity, and then but people will just turn things around and just make a better country just for no reason. Like, even though in any other revolution or something like that, there's something else there. You know, the war is going to be, or an external threat at least, is a major driver for improvement, and it would improve our country. There's no reason to not go to war right now, because we could stand to improve. Our people, like, why? I mean, and here's the thing: there won't really be a draft or a nuclear war or something. It's purely, these are old Russian tactics to say, you know, nuclear war means World War III, means the end of the world, because nuclear winter, all the fallout will block out the sun, and for like 100 years, only cockroaches will be alive because nothing will grow and we'll eat each other. That's fake, right? You know that nuclear winter is fake and that communists made that up. And how else did you think that the world was going to end? Just all the bombs are just going to blow up every city and just keep blowing everything up until nothing exists anymore or something? Nuclear war is fake. You understand that if we fought a nuclear, like a nuclear winter is fake. If we fought a nuclear war, we just draw, like, it'd be over and it'd be the quickest war we ever fought. And if Russia or China were lucky enough to take out one U.S. target or something before they're just reduced to like a complete lifeless moonscape, that'd be lucky on them. But they're definitely not going to end us, and they'll definitely not end the world. There's really no saying that they'll even get one shot off on us before we completely erase them. Because look at what they do now. They claim they have all the capability, and they don't have it. And the same people who right now, the same people, the distant right, the alt right, they call themselves the distant right because they're too cowardly to keep calling themselves the alt right, and they'll rebrand at every opportunity. These are cowardly people. A lot of these people are Nazgul and are Duginists, and what these kind of people are is a communist who is trying to tell you that something that is communist isn't communist. Like the Dugan system is like purely communist. When people think it's well, no, well, it's a fourth. This is the fourth political something or whatever. It's just communism. Nazgul is communism, and the people, like the guy whom Nazgul, the first Nazgul was getting Ernst Niekisch, who was a communist, who ended his life in like East Germany as like just a Marxist. And that's what these people are going to sell you at every opportunity. Like, no, it's Nazgul. It's called communism. It's Duganism. It's Putinism. It's called communism. That's what Ben Shapiro is really supporting. That's what libertarians are really supporting. The Libertarian Party is actually saying, just let Ukraine burn, kill them all. That's what they say. Let Ukraine burn is the libertarian thing. Just kill them, and just let Russia kill them, and establish communism. This is libertarianism now. It's a complete, like, I'm saying we need to clean house. If there's a conservative you like, just figure if you could really see this guy going anywhere, or does he just want you to be angry at trans stuff all the time? Is he just constantly just showing you pictures of homosexuals and trying to get you angry about it? Like, he's just showing you, like, because the conservatives I come across, that's all they care about is just showing you pictures of like Marjorie Taylor Greene is showing Hunter Biden with prostitutes, and she's just showing like porn, basically. Like, she's showing like naked. These people will just show you any, like, they just love to see like the most degenerate stuff. because they get off on it because they're masochistic, cowardly people. They're not gonna like notice that they never have like a plan to like solve it or something. They're not gonna get out of it because these are people who are profiting right now off of just selling you degeneracy and just getting you mad. Like Tucker Carlson, he just wants to get you mad. He doesn't want to solve anything. He's just gonna keep on throwing a wrench in every gears. And it's partly because all the distance in the country, either from the there used to be like left wing distance, and they were bankrolled by the Soviet Union. And the same thing with the right wingers too. And then they could just switch it up too. And Russia, if you watch Russian propaganda, most of it's left wing, but some of it they throw a bone to right wing people, and right wing people in our country are such a joke that they're the ones who'll chew on it for like forever. Our RT has however many like stories, and they just it's the same thing as what any kind of leftist will have, and probably because that leftist learned it from Russia, or they might have not have known it, but they were just digesting propaganda and regurgitating it. And but then RT comes up with the same leftist stuff, and to the point where people don't even notice. Oh, it's just like the same liberal stuff. But RT will also send you because they just throw the stuff out there. They don't care what like people in America really believe or something. They're just throwing wrenches in the gears. That's why our what we have now is dissent that's geared to do absolutely nothing except just make you mad. And so you just like right wingers just spend all day like mad, just looking at gay porn and just mad and just like everything's degenerate. What about China? And I hate Zelensky. They'll never do anything. All right, it's just like it's just throwing a wrench in the gears, and this is why we need to clean house because conservatives will not fight. You could see that they won't fight by their mentality and the things that they say. When they say like we don't want a forever war and we don't want fighting, they really don't. Like they're cloaking this stuff in political language and stuff for like neocons want war. Neocons, they're globalists. Like but what they want isn't globalism, like BRICS and globalism and all countries just united together and we'll just do this. What about what Russia, this isn't globalism, and these people aren't like neocons, like Putin's launching a global war on Nazis or something. They don't care about that. They'll never spend any time debating on how if the Russian army should just put minefields everywhere they occupy in Ukraine, which is what's going on right now. The I mean, these are people who like I said, in Kaliningrad, they raped everybody. The Russian soldiers, they raped everybody and they like murdered everybody, and then they just replaced everybody with Russians. You know, and it used to be. I mean, communists would sell, but now it's conservatives also, and the reason is that they'll surrender at every opportunity. That's their biggest thing. That's why they didn't. That's why we're at where we are now. That's why they won't fight. That's why they're telling us right now they'll never fight about anything. They won't fight for you. And I don't necessarily mean like in like a physical war. I mean they won't fight, like they don't have a spirit to them. Like they certainly won't fight in a real war. But they won't they're not going to lay it on the line in any real sense. You know, they're not people who will do that. They're not just fighters spiritually, morally. Like they don't resist anything. They might drag their feet and complain, and then they're gonna adopt whatever worldview they're supposed to, and then they'll turn their finger around and wag like this. Like they'll wag about what the liberals want them to in the end. They're just not quality people. Frankly, what most of the dissidents are is just the refuse of society and just rejects. who have no, they're just embittered, resentful people, and so a lot of them will just throw in with Russia or just want to see death, or they just want to complain. But these are cowardly people. It's not like they're societal rejects who are also brave or something. They're these are societal rejects that are rejected for I mean, because they're low quality. They're just low quality people. That's why Ben Shapiro's movies are low quality movies. They're like the Hollywood movies, just not as good. Is Ben Shapiro's going to give you? I mean, this what he says is not. I mean, is only worse than what liberals say, and we're just not going to get anywhere with these people. Daily Wire, everyone associated with that, every kind of conservative, just you're not going to victory with these people. You're not going to turn to. You'll have better luck just getting liberals to be more patriotic. But the conservatives we have no value, like zero value. I mean, maybe there might be a few lost people who are just they just got lost and they're just hanging out with this crowd. There's people who just find themselves in weird spots. You know, but as far as all the stuff, and I don't it's not just Ben Shapiro either. He has the knife in the back for Ukraine, and he is very prominent. But there's tons of other mini Ben Shapiro's waiting in the wings with about the same garbage ideas. Like these people don't know anything, and just look at how conservatives threw a wrench in Brandon's gears when he pulled out of Afghanistan, and conservatives started crying that we weren't getting enough Afghan refugees out and stuff like that. And then pretty soon, then the planes are getting held up to get these refugees out, and then ISIS is blowing up our people. Like 15 Marines get killed, and it's largely to do with conservatives who kicked up a huge stink about what was otherwise fine. I mean, just for no reason too. And they'd never. It's not like they'd paid attention to the war in Afghanistan before, or they cared, or they'll just make a big stink when it's the most inconvenient to just get attention for themselves, to trash the president just because he's in the other party, because Trump said he was going to pull out of Afghanistan too. He just didn't actually do it. It wasn't a bad, it wasn't a bad call, but they'll cry about it nevertheless. Anyhow, Ben Shapiro is I mean, he's got the knife in the back. This is a stab in the back for Ukraine, where he says they have to cede territory. Support for Ukraine means you get the territory back. I don't if you anyone who doesn't say that, like who says they need to cede territory, just don't say you're against Putin. Don't say you're pro Ukraine or something, because there's a lot of people who will kind of sneak in with these weird positions. Like we're trying to evict Russia from the Crimean Peninsula. Okay, this is a real war we have going on. We don't want people pushing for peace. Just if people show up and just start trying to push for peace, just shut them down. Just tell them to shut up. Because what we want is war, and we want more war. We don't want necessarily World War III. I don't want to use nuclear weapons. I don't see the value of it. But I mean, if we were able to, like, if we could just send in our military to fight the Russian military with like no nukes, I'd be super down with that. I saw this conservative guy like saying that the great thing about nukes is that they're preventing wars like that, but that is it's the worst thing about them because we can't just have. Wouldn't it be nice if we could just have a war with China with no nukes or something? Like nobody shoot nukes, and we'll just deal with this like men, you know. It, I have no problem with that, but as it turns out, we've got to shoot those nukes off immediately. Like I'm not really gonna play around. If it comes down to it, you just Article 5 that just shoot every nuke off immediately, even if it because these are we know they're lies, don't we? Like when does the Russian government ever tell the truth or any of their propagandists? You know, or we have people like Ben Shapiro and so on and so forth. There's just no point. And that's the thing. It's like we have very little to preserve right now. Conservatives conserved almost nothing. So it's like now now is a great time to have a big war. There's nothing really even on the. We have very little to lose. Do we? We have a lot to gain. Fighting is good. I mean, I'm liking it. And our people, it's not like the Ukrainians are wanting to back out. If they said we're done or something, then okay, then we're done. Like then we don't have anything left to go on. Like this is the problem with the Afghans. They weren't gonna just do it, so just pull out. Okay, if you don't have like the people there who are gonna like be able to fight, then just pull out. But if you do have people who can fight, and yeah, like and like Mike Pence is another one who has an okay position on Ukraine. It's pretty good, but it's I'm just laughing because he's going on about our cherished ally Israel, and we know Ben Shapiro. Obviously, Ben Shapiro's all about getting rid of the entitlement. No money for Americans at all. Like he's not even like we could do both. We could take care of Americans and Ukrainians. He just wants them to do neither. But he does want to send money to Israel. Certainly, Mike Pence. But why is that a cherished ally? Israel isn't even helping us right now. You know that? And Israel didn't help us in the Middle East at any point because they said if we help you out, it'll be a negative. It'll be such a great ally that if they help out, it's actually bad. Like it's a great ally. And then but now they could help when they like I would be ready. I would be ready right now to just stop uh just bury it with Israel. Like if Israel would just like um throw in with Ukraine or something, I'd be like, oh, you proved me wrong. But no, they're not really being an ally, are they? And they're actually stopping they're stopping weapon shipments to into Ukraine. Not only are they not trying to give any weapons, but they're stopping like they stopped Germany from transferring weapons into Ukraine because a lot of Russian Russians they moved to Israel, you know. And the US lobbied for that to happen because Israel wanted it to happen. But after it happened, Israel became much more pro Russia, you know. They're not necessarily even anti America, but they're Israel is um obviously they have reason to like America, but they are but now they're like loyal to Russia. And Putin has done a lot to kind of curry this favor with Israel. And he wanted to Putin, the reason why he doesn't have very many drones and he only has those stupid Orlan drones that have the Canon DSLRs in them. You know that the Russian Orlan drone has a Canon DSLR in it. You know that is a that shows the technical wizardry of these people. But he was planning on getting drones from Israel, and that was what Russia gambled on. But Israel didn't really follow through. Go figure. But that's that's what you get with uh, um, but that's what Putin was counting on. So when people try to act like Putin is some kind of anti-Zionist. Mm-mm. No, Putin. You know, there isn't really an anti-Zionist, or there isn't really a Zionist angle. People, people who talk about you know this stuff, it's usually a lot of nonsense. But Ben Shapiro, for sure, is trying to stab Ukraine in the back, and all the people who follow Ben Shapiro, the Daily Wire, all the conservatives around him who say we should cede territory. But it's just like, why would Ukrainians fight when they're going to cede territory? It's just like, I mean, and actually that's they're one of the reasons why the Afghans didn't fight is because conservatives were already acting like they wouldn't. Like it was at the time where we were like, okay, Afghans, now you have to fight. Conservatives immediately started saying, we need to get them out, get the refugees out, get the people, get the people who collaborated with us out. The same people who are supposed to fight. It's because conservatives don't know how to fight. They instinctively know how to flee and to run and to be cowards. And so that's why that's their advice in any war situation. They're lily livered and they don't have it. Did you really see conservatives be like that heroic even with bin Laden and so forth, and to get the terrorists and whatnot? Not, I mean, conservatives will wave flags all day long and then do absolutely nothing. Most of the people in the Marines, in the grunts, were not had no like didn't really have strong political leanings, and certainly weren't. I didn't meet anybody. I didn't really meet anybody who had like a real Republican conservative position. Is anyone who's ideologically motivated for these people is just completely selfish. Isn't even going to join the military, isn't going to fight, isn't going to expose himself to bullets and all that. I bet even back then there were probably more I don't know, liberalish people. Anyhow, we have to clean house. I'm just talking about um any kind of dissident, right or left. It's there's no hope for this, and so our country needs something like something fresh, and some kind of like a fresh movement or something. Just something. I don't know what it is. I'm just saying we need to clean house so something can show up, because I'm so sick of these people, and like I've known a lot of people, but they're not paving a way for victory. At the very most, they're paving a way to get you mad and just showing you what you should be mad about without ever actually fixing anything. You might have already known that. You might have already you might have already figured that out. But there you go. Anyhow, have a good one. We need to clean house. Take care.